So initially, I was scared of prelims.
Hmm.
To be honest, I'm sure of mains, but I'm scared of prelims. I just enrolled in Write Smart course at that
Right.
time because I wanted to start with mains. It is not worth your mental and physical health, no matter how much prestigious an exam is. So during those days of self-doubt and low confidence, I just showed up each and every day. I was just following very few people. So you were one among them at that time. You were giving the rational part, like you were telling about plan B, mental health. Mains is that bedrock which will give you the rank, the kind of service that you want to be in. Being mains ready is very important.
So hello and welcome to Sunday Brunch with Toppers. Today my guest is All India Rank 11 in UPSC CSE 2024, Sai Shivani. So firstly Shivani, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
So Shivani, this is just going to be a conversation about your journey. जो भी आपके सक्सेसेस रहे हैं, जो आपके फेलियर्स रहे हैं, things that you think you could have done better, things that you think you did right. We're just going to talk about that. No discussion on strategy or anything, just about what it has been like for you. So I'll start off with your graduation and how you decided to come to the civil services.
So actually, I come from Warangal, Telangana.
Yeah.
And this dream of entering into civil services has been a long one. So
Yeah.
it's my childhood dream actually. But things aside, I went to take science stream in the career, and I pursued BTech, so electronics and communications, and it's from IIIT Andhra Pradesh. So I've graduated in 2022, mid 2022, and since then I began to prepare for this exam. But meanwhile, in 2020, mid 2020, when the pandemic struck, that time I was sitting idly at home. So our classes were basically in online mode, the college course and all. So I thought maybe something interesting could give me some good insight about life. So that is when I explored how this exam actually works. So I researched about it a bit, and then I started off with optional preparation in that time.
So even before you had done any GS preparation, you thought you'll do optional prep.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it was initially not to write the exam right after graduation, but it is just a time off from me for me during those uncertain times, because
Right.
we are just locked up at home and we are not going out at all. So I thought something interesting would be better for me to do rather than sit idly scrolling my phone. So that is when I decided to start optional. So chapter by chapter I explored it, and then I found my optional anthropology is very interesting.
Right.
So it gave me a new insight on culture, topics like, marriage, family, etc. So I found it quite interesting, and unknowingly I finished my optional in the first wave of lockdown. So that is how I started with optional first and later jumped into GS.
Incidentally, actually in 2020, I was doing my COVID duties in Lok Nayak Hospital, and that is also the time when I was reading my optional, although I had done my GS earlier. So before you went to college, you were sure you wanted to go to the civil services?
Yes, sir. Because
So where did that come from?
Because actually it came from my dad.
Okay.
So right from my childhood days, he was just asking me the GK questions all around.
Yeah.
We do not expect asking kids in 4th standard or 3rd standard who is the president, who is the prime minister, things like that. But my father made sure that I pay attention to the things happening in the society. So the seed was sown very early in my life, but it was there that I should pursue something in science. And unknowingly during pandemic times, this ambition became so strong that I should give something back to the society, and I should pursue civil services for sure. And that is when, right after graduation, when I thought of taking a job and building a career versus preparing for this exam all over again. So then after analyzing pros and cons, just because I had done optional, so I thought maybe just give some more efforts and just give this exam this time. So that is when I decided that, okay, let me try with the exam first. If things do not go my way, let me go back and explore the other careers.
So in 2022, once you graduated, that's when you decided that, okay, you will give the exam once.
Yes.
I'll just stop for 1 second and say that I think Sir is just as responsible for your success, and Sir, congratulations to you just as much as congratulations to her. So once you decided to, let's say, give the exam then in 2022, you've done your optional. I'm assuming in GS you've not studied a lot. So what was that feeling like, and what was the path that you decided then to chart out?
So initially it was very confusing for me because optional is one straight thing, it's linear. You
Yeah.
have strict set of syllabus. You go through topic by topic, but I found it difficult and complex because there are many subjects, and if we take the prelims papers, syllabus is bit vague. Mains is very exhaustive, as we know. So then I started with the big subjects first. So the polity, economy, history and geography. So once I completed this bulk of subjects, say by the end of November or December, so then I began writing a different test series for prelims. So
Right.
that is how I initially started with these GS papers.
So did you go for self-study at this time? Like, were you studying by yourself?
Sir, initially I thought of enrolling into some foundational coaching because
Yeah.
these subjects were not very familiar to me since I come from the science background.
Yeah.
But then, since I had already done a huge chunk of optional, it gave me a kind of confidence that, okay, let me just try it on. If there is any help that I can require, I can go back to some classes anyways. So that is when I decided that, okay, let me try it on my own self. So in this way, I completed the GS subjects also by myself.
Right.
So it was overall a self-study.
So, what do you think is the importance of, studying these things by yourself? See, of course, classes do help, right? But that can be my bias also. But coming from you, I think this will carry a lot of weight. That when a student studies something themselves, they get confused a little bit. Sometimes it's difficult to find out what it is. But that research that we do, in my opinion, it helps a lot. What do you think about it?
So definitely self-work is more required in this exam because there is no one source code to crack this exam. Whatever are the courses or help that we get from the market, they act just as an input.
Right.
So overall, taking inputs, you have to work on your own self.
Yeah.
And initially, yes, these subjects will be confusing for us and we may get a lot of doubts. But when we analyze things with a clear mindset, then we get to know the nitty-gritties of each and every subject and aligning these subjects with the demands of the exam. So this will come with time. So when we pay attention to these details, then I think cracking this exam becomes easy. Rather than just depending on one single course or just this mindset will not help, I guess.
Right.
Because this exam is not like any other exam that you have written in your school or college.
Right.
This requires a lot of analysis and you have to build that perspective.
100%. So I think even now, let's say even when we are teaching, I think no matter what I do or what any institute does, I don't think we can contribute more than 15% in anybody's success. I think 15% is luck, which I think it's God's grace. And I think 70% is always what the candidate is doing, right? Because so many people have the same source or the same course or the same books, but it depends on how you read them or how you actually put in the effort there. So coming back to your journey, you had, let's say, done all these subjects. How long did it take you to complete, let's say, polity, economy, geography and history by yourself?
So it actually took more time for me, almost like 6-7 months I took completely to just understand these subjects. I have also read few NCRTs, not 6th to 12th per se, but just per every other subject I have referred 2-3 NCRT books just to build that foundation.
Yeah.
And then I refer to the standard books that every other topper recommends.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of almost more than 6-7 months for me
Right.
to complete this bulk of 4 big subjects.
So let's say in the starting of 2023, let's say Jan-Feb of 2023, you must have completed these subjects and then you were writing your prelims tests, or when did you complete and what did you do after that?
Actually, it was almost by the end of December that I'm done with all of these subjects.
Right.
And I was doing some ancillary subjects here, like the environment, science and tech, the minor subjects.
Yeah.
So almost it took me till March to complete all of the subjects.
Okay.
So it was not 100% complete. But the mistake that I have done here that costed me 1 year is that I am running behind current affairs a lot. Not focusing on this static bulk of subjects. Maybe in hindsight, I look at these as the mistakes that costed me 1 full year of failures and some mental breakdown also.
Right. So till March, let's say, we'll go step by step. So just say March tak you've already finished all of these subjects, and now you have to prepare for the prelims. It's in 2 months. I think it was in May or June in 2023, right? So what was that time like? जब आपने you've completed your static, you've read for the prelims, you've also read your optional in a detailed way. what was that time like? वो जो 2 महीने थे prelims से पहले, what was that experience like and what happened?
So initially, I was scared of prelims. To be honest, I'm sure of mains, but I'm scared of prelims because year on year we are seeing some toughness,
Right.
the increase in toughness in prelims papers.
Right.
But till 2022, it was on a linear way. But from 2023, it changed like a way more than before. But I was just having 2 months in hand. But I started writing tests by the beginning of Jan. So
Okay.
from January, I was writing test, analyzing all of that. But जो 2 महीने थे, like it was very stressful for me because I'm scared in the first place. So I was just reading a lot, revising, doing stuff like writing tests and taking analysis out of it. But mentally, I was very unprepared. So to be frank, I was just scared of prelims itself. I'm sure of mains because I'm good at writing, but I'm not sure of prelims. Maybe that kind of fear reflected back in the performance as well.
Right.
So I was feeling like I was very busy with revising all of the subjects and all, but at the same time I was anxious and nervous as well.
Right. So what was the experience like in 2023 prelims? I think maybe this year and 2023, these have been one of the 2 toughest papers that we have seen in the prelims in the last 10 years. So you gave your first attempt in 2023. First attempt anyway, we are more scared and we're more worried of what it would be like, right? So what was your experience in the exam hall?
So it was almost I think May 28, 2023.
Yeah.
Like we are also facing a lot of heat waves during
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
And as I was worried about myself, the same got reflected back in the paper. That year the pattern changed so much, both in the GS and the CSAT.
Yeah.
The toughness was increased compared
Yeah.
to previous years. I just gave my best, but just after coming from the exam hall, I knew that I didn't give my best. Maybe
Right.
there were some loopholes that I didn't recognize. Maybe there were some improvements that I didn't work upon. But end of the day, after the performance, I knew that I didn't do my best. So that
Right.
was very evident, and it actually took a toll on my health for a long period because I've been performing very well academically since my childhood days till the engineering. But this particular exam, just the single exam in which I could not perform my best despite giving this much of time, it took a lot of toll on my mental health.
So it was like a setback at that time. So how did you deal with it? Like what were you feeling at that time? Jaise many people have given the prelims this time, right? And a lot of them might be in your position where they have put in a lot of effort, but simply because of the nature of the exam, maybe the vagueness, the toughness of the CSAT, and all of that, and the way the questions were this time, for example, there were reasoning based questions, etc., they might be in a similar position as yours. So I just want you to tell me what you felt at that time and how you dealt with those feelings.
Initially it felt a lot for me because, as I said, I was a good student, good books all the time, but then this setback came as a slap on my face, and just I was not doing anything at all for the next 2 months. So then once I sat back with myself and just I have this hobby of journal writing, so I just wrote that even the failure was not taking that much of toll than not doing anything at all for the next 2 months.
Okay.
I was just sitting idly, and then by the time I just made up my mind that okay, prelims is done, there is no point in preparing for prelims from that stage.
Right.
So with lot of thought, I just enrolled in Write Smart course at that
Right.
time because I wanted to start with mains. Whatever was done, it was done. There is nothing that I could change. But just I can just reflect back on my own journey and take those insights and move forward with some learning. So this is the thought that I had. But yes, I just faced days when I didn't want to show up at all. So I just removed all of the stick notes that I pasted on the wall. It was just pure frustration that I do not want to give this exam at all. So there were days like that, but again, there was something inside me that refused to give up.
Right.
Okay, just let it pass, let this phase pass away.
Right.
But actually, not just the prelims failure, the entire 2023 was a year of failures for me, back to back. So sitting idly for an year at home, it's miserable actually.
Right.
Even when my parents and family is so supportive, I'm just having that moral pressure inside me that you are going to read the same whole things again for the next 1 year.
Right.
And during this time, I tried my luck at other exams as well. So I've written some state public service commission exams and some exams at Intelligence Bureau. In every other exam, I was just failing at prelims itself. So despite putting the best of my efforts, I'm just failing in the first attempt. And it took a lot of toll on me because being a bright student, just facing every other failure in exams with difficulty level not so par with UPSC. So that kind of took a lot of toll on my mental health. And it one day went too worse that I didn't want to write any exam at all. Just I
Right.
wanted to go back to my core sector and work.
Right.
Because these competitive exams, they are taking a lot of toll on my physical and mental health.
Right.
But thinking all of these factors, sitting back with myself, just I thought one question that, okay, all of these are failures, but what is it that you have learned from these? You
Right.
just want to run away, and if you run away, there will be a regret lifelong that you didn't do your best, that you know it very well. But despite knowing that, you didn't work upon yourself. You are just blaming something or the other for these failures.
Right.
Why not look at your own self, look at your own mistakes, and then just give one good attempt? So this was the thought that I had back in March 2024. So I think that gave me kind of this positivity to just go all in this attempt, this 2024. And this is the whole battle with myself, because even when I was staying with my family, I could not open up as much because I was just dealing with all these things with my own self.
Yeah, these feelings they tend to stay bottled up. It's very difficult to express them at that time. I think now looking back, you can say all of this, but उस time पे ये बातें बोलना it becomes very difficult. One thing I wanted to ask you here, actually a couple of questions I have, but I'll come to them one by one. You said after prelims 2 months you didn't do anything. Looking back now, what do you think you would have told yourself at that time, and what do you think you would have done differently now that you know all that you know?
Maybe, sir, not so different than what I was doing back then, because after that a lot of hectic work and burnout, maybe I think I deserved that space with myself.
Right.
It is not worth your mental and physical health, no matter how much prestigious an exam is, how
Correct.
much great an opportunity is.
Absolutely.
It is not worth your physical and mental health.
Right.
So I think I won't think I could have done much differently than what I was doing back then. But yes, some bit of positivity and going easy on myself could have been better.
I think this is very important, that sometimes our body and our mind just needs a break, right? And it's important to give ourselves that, because like you were saying, you were a great student throughout, and that reflects now, of course, and you had spent a lot of time studying for prelims, you didn't make it, the paper was tough, and uske baad if our body does require a certain amount of break or some time to just settle back, it's okay to give ourselves that time, right? Once you had, let's say, come out of that, you had, like you were mentioning, you were then part of Write Smart, and then you were continuing your mains prep. So what was your experience like there, and how did you then go for mains prep?
So initially it was a great push that I needed at that time.
Yeah.
Because I was not opening up with anybody, neither my family nor my friends. I was just dealing stuff with myself. And starting with mains answer writing gave me a new perspective. That okay, there are many things that I can actually learn rather
Right.
than sit back and cry for myself.
Right.
So initially I started with answer writing, and then I knew that it was going to be interesting. If
Right.
once I clear prelims, it's all going to be interesting.
Right.
So just I should be mains ready by say around Jan,
Right.
so that the remaining period that we'll get in between prelims and mains, it will be sufficient for enriching my answer writing techniques or notes.
Right.
So I just went all ahead.
Right.
And I started somewhere between the mid-September, and I just put lot of efforts in the lean season that we say, the September to December wala phase. Like we get too lethargic in the chilling winters, but in that phase I just mustered up confidence and a disciplined routine and a clear mindset. Okay, these are the things that are required for the exam, let me do them first.
Right.
So in this manner, I just went ahead with answer writing and making notes for some miscellaneous topics. And by the end of December, I just started ahead with prelims because I knew I was not performing well in prelims.
Right.
I just decided to give it more time rather than 3-4 months. I just gave it full 5 months.
Right.
So that actually, sir, I think people misunderstand when I say the schedule or the time period required for different stages of this exam.
Yeah.
It is not linear for every one of us.
Right.
Whatever is your requirement at that particular stage of the exam, you should give it more time, more analysis. Rather than comparing somebody else's schedule,
Right.
just customize it according to your own needs.
Right.
So in this way, I've given almost 5 months for prelims prep.
Right. I think one thing that is applicable to everyone is that there are a few months where everybody studies, right? Everybody who is serious for this exam will study in March and April and Feb, right? And everybody, let's say, who's not making it through prelims will start studying somewhere around December, January again. But like you were saying, those lean months, there are times when most people are not studying. But people who put in effort in those lean months, then the dividends show, because that is when you can actually create a differential. Because if everybody is studying, let's say in March and April, no matter how smart or intelligent you are, you can't really create a differential where you are better than them, right? Maybe you are 10% better, but there are months where people don't put in a lot of effort. जहाँ पे ये tendency है, which I've seen a lot, right? कि prelims नहीं हुआ है, let me just, I don't want to think about this, and that's okay. Sometimes, like you were saying, that does happen. But again, like I always emphasize on this, that you have to stay in the, if you have to stay in the cycle, these are the months where you can actually create a differential over your competitors, right? So like you were saying, you wanted to be mains ready by January. Were you able to do that? Like your assessment?
Yes. So not completely, but I was confident that if ever I could make it through prelims, I'll just go all in for the mains. Like I
Right.
was very confident that I should clear the mains.
Right.
If I get a chance to write the mains, it means that I was just lucky. Because prelims is very random. But
It is.
if you are somebody who got the chance to write the mains, you should do justice to it. So
Right.
that is what is my inner thought. And I've actually mains ready, not 100%, not 50%, but yes, the mindset was ready for mains.
Right.
Like some background work that I have done. So I was confident that I would clear mains if ever I get a chance.
At least I think we can say that you would not have to read from scratch for mains, right? Like your optional was done. You would have done like a lot of answer writing also. Maybe some subjects of the mains also you must have done. So with that, I think at least वो mains की जो एक mystery होती है, वो नहीं है. पता है what you have to do. I think that also helps.
Yes.
Because I think if I speak of my own journey, in my first attempt, I had made it in prelims. Similar to yours, I think I had spent 6 months reading for prelims. In 2021, prelims had been postponed because of COVID. It was in October. But I had no idea for the mains. Like I just, after the prelims was done and I knew I was scoring well, I had no idea what to do. So I think 1 month was spent simply figuring out what mains is like. And then you are set up for failure, right? Because you have 3 months to prepare. If 1 month is spent just trying to figure out what is happening. And it is from that mindset that I repeat the thing that you've just said. I tell everybody that, you should be mains ready after your prelims, or like before your prelims, before you give the prelims of next year, by December or by January. Because there are so many people who are going to give the mains and then appear again next year. Or people who are going to get selected or be in the interview and then appear again next year. So technically the process is so brutal that even selected candidates are writing the mains again. So it then requires you to be better than them.
Yes.
So for that you can't really let go, but it's great that you've said that even in those lean months you were doing well. Now I want you to talk to me about your second attempt. See, in the second attempt, you must have felt that there has been one failure in prelims already. In January, you would have started reading for prelims again. What was the sort of pressure you were facing at that time?
The pressure was definitely there because as I said already, I've been writing some other exams as well.
Yeah.
So not just the UPSC CSE, but the failures in other exams, they also impacted my confidence.
Right.
So every day I'm showing up at my table and just reading and analyzing the things. But deep down I know that there have been a lot of baggage of failure that I'm already carrying. And what if and what else were the repeated questions in my mind. every other day I'm just getting demotivated. But then, like, I had just a stick notes at my wall, and in that I just made a graph. It was very old, like almost during the initial days of prep. So in that graph there are two things. One is discipline, one is motivation. So the motivation is a like up and down curve, but the discipline is a linear one.
Discipline is permanent. Yeah.
So I think that kind of inspired me a lot whenever I felt low and whenever I didn't feel like showing up at all. But then I just look at it and just remember that it is my duty to show up no matter what. So during those days of self-doubt and low confidence, I just showed up each and every day and did what all I could have done at that moment possibly. And that was evident in the prelims performance, because I didn't check any other key papers in the market, but I just knew that I did my best this time. This was not there in the 2023 prelims day.
Right.
The moment I'm out of the exam hall, I knew that I have done all the possible groundwork and I just executed it the way it should be done.
Right.
And this kind of satisfaction kind of was very liberating for me after toiling so many months
So
in
I
this
think
cycle.
that feeling that you had done your best, that came only in your second attempt.
Yes, sir.
Just one thing I'm curious about, why did you decide to give all of these other papers, and which papers did you give?
So other exams?
Other exams, yeah.
It was simply because I was not feeling well sitting at home.
Okay.
Even though my parents were very supportive, I just wanted to try my luck at other exams. Maybe this exam is kind of difficult. Let me try out on some other easy exams.
Okay.
But in hindsight, I feel that I shouldn't have given those exams in the first place, because despite of the efforts, I just didn't get a positive push from those exams. Like in the worst that they gave me lower confidence each day after each other exam. But just to take off that moral pressure from my head, I was just giving those exams because the syllabus was kind of similar. So that is when I decided to just try it out. But in hindsight, I really feel that they kind of demotivated me a lot. But yes, they have built a quality in me, that is perseverance.
Right. Given a chance to, do this again, would you now tell yourself, if you could go back in time, to give those exams again? Or would you think that, no, this is not really the right thing for me?
Maybe yes, I couldn't have done very much differently, because like by the face of it, it looks as a failure. But deep down, those failures again and again, they gave me this quality of perseverance that is not just required for exams, but in life as well.
Right.
So I think I couldn't have done much more differently.
Right. All right. So let's say you've given the 2024 prelims, you've done well, you know you're getting through, right? Tell me now about those 3 months when you're writing your mains. Because I think in anybody's journey, they are the toughest 3 months that we face. Because there are sleepless nights and there are bad days. So what were those 3 months like for you?
So overall, mains phase is that grueling phase.
Yeah.
Because it is not just the mental one, it's a physical one even.
Yeah.
Like then I realized one word for this entire phase, that is endurance. How much ever you can endure, you can perform much better.
Right.
So every other day I was feeling demotivating, and one thing that I can recollect is that I was just looking at topper copies and I was feeling so bad about myself that I can't even write good answer. How can I expect to clear myself like this exam? And then sitting back with myself, introspecting a lot, I time and again reminded myself that this is the chance only few people get, like writing the mains. If you are one among them, just go all in.
Right.
Do not waste this chance. Somebody else in your place could have utilized this time much better. Maybe this kind of perspective helped me to take these shortcomings in a positive light and just work upon my deficiencies each day.
Yeah.
So going through these 2.5 months, as I said, I didn't start right after prelims. After the result of prelims, I started for mains. I just took a long break after prelims.
Right.
Because I knew that I did my best. If I'm not going to make it through 24 prelims, I thought that I would just go back and build some career in core sector.
Yeah.
So I was very clear. If not this, I'm just going back. And then after that, I knew on July 1st that I will be given a chance to write mains.
Yeah.
Then I just scheduled it, the 2.5 months I have. And during the 2023 phase, after the prelims, I just did the groundwork required for mains through GS, and also optional also I was reading standard books like Ember and made my own notes out of those books, and I enriched my optional notes. So I was somewhere ready for mains.
Yeah,
Then
that's what I was just about to ask you. The fact that you had studied so much of mains earlier, right? You had studied your optional, you had done PYQs with me, for example, read other content of mains. How much did that then come in handy? Like, do you think it was easier then? And how much did that help? The fact that you had already done so much mains prep last year.
Actually, it helped me a lot. Firstly, the confidence part. It gave me confidence that no matter how much short this duration is, I would be able to finish the concepts and I'd be mains ready. So first part is the confidence. Second part is the understanding the demands of each subjects. So what are the nitty-gritties? What are the trends in the PYQs? How should be a topic done? So maybe we should know what to read and what not to read. That is important for mains. So this understanding was there, and also optional I enriched it a lot, and I didn't write any test series for optional. I just relied on PYQ practice, and I think that kind of analysis and groundwork helped me do that. And I scored fairly well in optional papers. So I got 280 without writing proper full-fledged test.
And I think just to give context, this year's 280 is, let's say, 310 in 2022, because all optionals have been scaled down. So 270 is the average of selected people. So 280 is great in anthropology this year. Yeah.
So that kind of background work really helped me, and I think scheduling it better and just looking at my own mistakes and constant improvisations helped me clear mains with fairly good marks, I can tell, because I was not just thinking about marks and all, but just after the mains papers were done, I was just sitting at the exam hall. I closed my pen, and then I felt very liberating that I did a lot of work and I was able to execute all of that. So this was a satisfaction.
Did you feel like you've done your best, you're going to get through? Did that feeling come right after mains?
Yes, sir. It was quite there. I do not know about marks or rank.
Of course.
But yes, I just knew one thing, that I did my best. So that satisfaction was way more on the end of the mains day rather than on the results day.
Right. So, okay, you've given your mains in 2024. Now, what did you think after that? I'm sure sometime, and very well deservedly so, you would have taken a break. But what did you do after that till the results came? What was your thinking at that time?
I honestly wanted to take a break, but I didn't get that break because just before the prelims, I have written the Telangana PSC exam.
Okay.
So I have cleared the prelims, and just after UPSC mains were done, I just had 20 days to write the mains of state
Telangana.
PSC.
Okay.
So even though I was feeling very exhausting, but I had to prepare for that exam again, because I always believe in this thing that if you ever get a chance, do justice to it, because somebody else might be just waiting for years to get that.
Right.
So with that kind of mindset, I just scheduled whatever is the relevant syllabus, similar syllabus to UPSC, I'll just revise it, and whatever is the new syllabus for this exam, I would just give 75% of the time in this 20 days.
What is the difference in the syllabus in Telangana?
Sir, actually, to be precise, 60% of it will get covered in the UPSC syllabus. And one other paper, it is about the Telangana statehood and movement.
Okay.
So one whole paper is regarded to the Telangana history.
Specific to the state.
Yes. And also things like Telangana geography, history, economy. So for that, I had to go through Telangana economic survey and then Telangana budget. So there were some specific details. So I have given 75% of the time to this syllabus, which is new for me, and remaining 25% I'm just revising what I've read for mains.
Right.
So in this manner, I scheduled the 20 days and just I went to give the exams. Almost October completed like that.
Right.
I didn't get the break. I was just writing back-to-back mains. And in November, I took full break. I just did things which I wanted to do, like the hobbies
Yeah.
or just spending time with family, you know. Even then, even though I was at home, I was not spending time with them because I was all immersed in these works. So it was just the family time and me time during November. And we know that in December first week, the results would be out.
Right.
There was kind of anxiety, even though I know that I did my best. But we know that in this exam there are lot many factors, not just your hard work or your dedication or efforts. There are lot many factors which could decide your result. So I was feeling a bit anxious also, but I told myself that these 3 months I was hustling between the exams. I was not even caring about my own self, but just did what all I could have done. I
Right.
just did justice to both the exams. That
Right.
is what I knew.
But this is amazing that after writing a mains, you were able to go and write another mains. I think writing one mains also is a very draining and a very hard work requiring process. But the fact that you were able to write another mains right after you've written a UPSC mains it's so indicative of how hardworking you are. And I mean, kudos to that. Like, I think that's a bigger quality than whatever achievement you have now. This shows a much bigger quality of endurance and consistency, because honestly I couldn't have done it. Like, if I would have written a mains, I wanted a break after that. I don't think it's very possible to start studying or even go write another paper right after that. So November you said, then you did take a break. In December I think the mains results would have been out, right? So when was your interview and what was that process like?
So actually, by December 9, we got the result.
Yeah.
And then we got a schedule a week or 10 days later. Then I knew that my interview is going to be on March 21st.
Okay. So
That
fairly
is-
late.
That is a hell lot of time to study.
Yeah.
Because each month that you study, there will be a lot of current affairs, lot of preparation. So then initially I was very clueless, because unlike prelims or mains, this is very subjective,
Right.
and there is no exhaustive list to prepare.
Also very personalized for each person, right?
Exactly. And initially I was clueless whom to follow, what to do, and some time went in just filling the DAF itself.
Right.
What to fill, what not to fill, and some time went in regretting why did I fill this entry in the first place.
Yeah.
So it was all like initially complex and clumsy, but after some time I just figured out doing this step by step. So then I divided my entire preparation into 3 parts. One is the DAF analysis. So you should go all in, layer by layer, enrich your DAF notes. And second is the current affairs preparation. Not just reading the news, but analyzing it. I was just reading 3 to 4 papers each day, and there was a lot of things going on in the international affairs, and be it the American policies or something like that in the geopolitics. And the third aspect is the presentation. Because I was staying at home, I do not have any peers to talk to. So then I realized that even though I'm good at what I speak, but at some point I need to know how it should be done properly. So then I just got a good friend, and we used to have sessions each day. So we used to take Zoom calls, and we used to ask each other the questions on DAF,
Okay.
on current affairs. So in this way we prepared the presentation part.
Yeah.
Time and again, when we did that with consistency, we realized that we could face pressure face on, despite like not showing it on the face. How much ever trickier the question is, just maintain calmness in your face and give the answer politely.
Right.
So these are the nitty-gritties that we have learned through presentation, like practicing it daily. And consistency in reading news, analyzing it. And here I used an approach where the DAF keywords, I mapped them out, and whichever is relevant to that keyword in news, I'll just analyze it a bit more.
Right.
And in this way, I just went ahead month by month. But when I had given the mocks, I just knew that I was going very pathetic.
Okay, why?
Because I do not know, but somewhere I was not carrying that confidence. I was trying to be somebody else. So I knew that pretending to be somebody else will not help us.
Right.
So just being our own selves and just being aware of our own selves is very important.
Right.
And if there is some question based on your DAF and you are not able to answer it, it is completely your own fault.
Right.
It is not something from the news, it is something from your own life. So I just question myself that you are going to enter civil services, you should be aware of everything that is happening with you and happening around you. When you yourself are not aware of yourself, how do you expect you to be a good civil servant? So this is the question I had with myself. And after the mocks, I just had 10 days here in Delhi to attend mocks in February. And after going back home, I had 1 full month to reflect upon. Initially, one mistake that I feel is that I was just giving back-to-back mocks with no time to analyze my
Or
performance.
reflect, yeah.
Because I had very little time to stay in Delhi here.
Right.
But when I went back home, I just seen my own recordings time and again, and each and every moment I was just pausing it and writing what could have been gone better,
Right.
and what kind of DAF analysis is needed.
Right.
Certain questions were in mocks were useful for me to just craft more questions on that particular area in DAF.
Right.
And in this time, I was also using AI a lot to craft different questions on my DAF entries.
Okay.
And I was just going layer by layer and writing questions on the DAF areas and just crafting good answers. I was typing a good answer and then just I was deleting it all over again, and I was just crafting one other response that seems more genuine and honest.
Right.
So in this way, the preparation of interview was over.
Yeah. Tell me the most interesting moment of your actual UPSC interview.
Actually, there were many interesting things. Firstly, there was no single question on current affairs.
Okay. In your entire actual
Entire
interview.
interview.
Actually, that's great for you.
Actually, I had prepared some 4.5 month current affair notes by my own self. I was just reflecting on other international events. I prepared IR more, and I prepared the things about my own state. All of that, whichever is in news. But no single question from news at all. And it was completely focused on my DAF. I was just the last person to go in the forenoon session.
Okay.
And I was not really feeling well because I just had food poisoning the before night.
Oh, okay. That's
But then I just had one thought that you came this far to prove something to your own self. Do not let anything stop from being yourself today. So that is a constant positive motivation that I had. And I do not know whether it is funny or not, but I'm the last one to go. I was not at all feeling energetic, but then I had to wait 4 more hours to get my
Right.
slot that day. But I was just feeling happy to be there because after all of the years of dreaming about this and working a lot, I just felt so grateful to the opportunity itself.
right.
At that moment, the loss or win didn't appear to me. It was
Right.
just pure gratitude. And when I entered the board, like I faced the board, the questions were very amazing because out of the expectations that I had, there were no questions on IR, no questions on news. It's completely DAF centric, and it went past 30 to 35 minutes.
That's always a good sign. Yeah.
So I didn't know the catch of time. But questions were around my own participations at school and college, and questions about my state. So it all felt very jovial, and certain questions in between they were asking about spirituality and God, because I had an entry on the recitation of Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, that's great.
So each and every member in the board asked almost 2 to 3 questions on Gita itself.
Okay.
So it was all Gita centric interview that day, and certain questions, situation based questions. All of these were asked. The moment I was out of the interview hall and I just came out of the Dolpur house, I was just feeling liberating that, okay, what all could have been done, I've done that. There can be some improvement always.
Right.
No matter how much you do, there can be some improvement. So you are not perfect. But I knew that I worked for it, I analyzed it, and just I executed it fairly.
Right.
So I was just feeling happy, and we just went out, roamed Delhi, and just it was a very happy day.
Right. So we've come to the end of your journey, so to speak. I have a couple of questions for you now, and I want you to be as honest as possible. Some of them might be a little bit difficult, but I mean, I want you to, talk about these things. Let's say you would not have gotten it through in 2024, and your name would not have been in the list. What would you have done then? Had you thought about this earlier? like after your interview, everybody thinks about this thing, and especially when the results are just about to be released, we know that okay, results are about to come. Everybody thinks about this. If you had not made it, what would you have done?
So especially this was not an abrupt thought, because I had given it enough thought already. That if not 2024, I'm not just sitting at home and giving this exam again. This was so clear for me, even during the prelims itself. So then, despite the fact that I had filled for 2025 prelims, I was just not interested to study. Because I felt drained out, because somewhere in mid 2020 I started with optional. I just was
It
so
had been a long
immersed.
journey.
Yes, it has been a long journey. Even though it was just the second attempt, my association with this exam was just long back.
Right.
So then mentally I felt drained out. I just wanted to explore some other thing in life. Then I also had this discussion back at home with my parents. They were asking me, why are you not even studying for prelims? You just had applied for it. So then I told them that if I couldn't make in 24, I'm not going to give 25. I'm just going back, looking out for whatever suits me better in the core sector. And if I have that passion and zeal again, I would just come back and write this exam. But 1 year, I'll just take a break from this exam and go do whatever interests me more.
Right. So you had already thought that no matter what happens, you are not going to write the paper again and go back to a plan B, which is I think very appreciable and great, because we should always have at least this mapped out, right? This should be planned out regardless of how successful or how great our attempt has gone, because there is so much uncertainty that if you keep sitting and preparing, it really takes a toll on our mental health. All right, second question is, you've prepared from home mostly, right? Would you recommend somebody to come to Delhi, or do you think it's not required and it's easy to, it must not easy, but like it's possible to prepare from home?
So definitely it's a personal choice, but if we talk about the criteria or factors, if the person aspiring for this exam is a person who is studious and disciplined, they can just sit back at home, just enroll into whatever online courses or help that you may require. You can just do it from your own place. There is nothing so revolutionary in Delhi here. Everything is digitalized. You can access the content from anywhere.
Right.
But if the person in question is somebody who needs a peer group or who needs some external push to just do the things, maybe then they can give it a thought whether to have a peer group at home or to just come to Delhi, stay here and study. So it can be a personal choice, but as I said earlier, there is no one source code to get through this exam.
Right. All right. Third question, and we were also talking about this before we started this conversation, that a lot of people have said that you've not taken any formal coaching, and then you're saying that you've taken some courses. So I'm just going to give you an opportunity now to clarify this and to come out with your perspective on this.
Sir, I think it's easy to judge someone. Being in an online platform where you are anonymous,
right?
So you have that guts to just type whatever you have in mind. But if the person is right in front of you, you might not have that dare to speak such words.
Story of my life.
Yes, sir. So maybe judging somebody is very easy rather than being in their own place. Like every journey is personal. The kind of struggles that one goes through, it is very personal. The world doesn't know it. But I just want to clarify one thing, that when I said I didn't take formal coaching, it means that I'm not enrolled in any of the foundation courses.
Right.
And then I just took courses with respect to the prelims and mains.
Right.
This was just to make sure that I was going in a certain right direction.
Right.
So for that purpose, I've enrolled in the courses which actually helped me.
Right.
So this self-analysis was always there. Whatever I was feeling lacking at that particular area, I was just going out to get some help. So it is not wrong, because it is your own journey. You can decide whatever you want. So in that perspective, I have taken few courses for prelims and mains.
So basically what you're trying to say is that, like, I'm just clarifying your stand here, that you've not taken any foundation coaching, but wherever, and you've studied by yourself, wherever you thought you required help, you've taken some courses.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
I think that message was important to put out. All right. Next question is, how has life changed after the result? Some good things and some bad things. I think we've heard of one bad thing. So,
Yes.
good things and bad things after the result.
So one good thing is that I'm just not going to write this exam again. So that is the biggest relief that I've got. And yes, the kind of recognition or the respect that you get, it's immense. It's just not found in any other profession, I think.
Right.
Like as a country, we are so immersed in these prestigious services.
Right.
So you get a lot of name and fame. That is one positive aspect. And the other thing was the happiness in my parents' faces. Like it was something that I couldn't value more. Like,
Right.
yeah, it is what all I have dreamt of.
Right.
I just had seen the smiles on their faces, and it kind of gave me a lot of satisfaction.
Right.
And I was just more tuned to what is ahead for me, what kind of good works or positive work that I can do within my own position. And yeah, that is the positive part. And the negative part, as I say, is that when you are in a profession like this, you are under public surveillance all the time. You get attention, both necessary and unnecessary. Sometimes it gets personal, sometimes it gets so worse.
Yeah.
But end of the day, as a part of civil services, we should be like thick skin to criticism, take
Right.
whatever is constructive and just remove off the hate, because that is not going to propel us to do something good.
All right, this is the second last question. It's specifically about your experience with me. I want you to be as honest as possible. Tell me the good things and things that I think and that you think I should improve now.
Firstly, sir, I was just following a lot of YouTubers at that point, so during 2023. But then after the prelims failure, I would cut down all other things, like even the Telegram channels or whatever is there. I was just following very few people. So you were one among them at that time. I was following the anonymous UPSC aspirant back then. So I just found that you were giving rational analysis, because as far as I am concerned with this journey, I've seen that people always glorify the positive things surrounded by this exam. But you were giving the rational part, like you were telling about plan B, mental health. At that time, these aspects were not much spoken. So like then I thought those were resonating with me.
Right.
Like the plan B aspect, be it the mental health and the kind of preparation that we should take, like how much ever is required to be read, how much ever is required to be left. So these kind of rational analysis helped me more. And then especially the Write Smart, because I think I needed that push at that time, because I was not motivated to give this exam. But then sitting back and just studying for prelims again would be a stupid thing, because you can't read for prelims all through the year. Then I just started ahead with mains, just knew how PYQs should be perceived, how you have to have some frameworks, the structuring part for the answers. So that I had learned through Write Smart. And when I knew that I was going to write the mains, I was enrolled into GS3 course. I was just clueless initially, because there were many things to cover during those 2.5 months. I was just enrolled into GS3 course, and I've just got many new examples from your handouts. So whatever is there in the market, I had the basic templates, but certain value addition points I found more useful from GS3 course. So that is when I integrated all of the inputs from various other courses and all. And I think in hindsight, I just did the right things, because it has given me a good result. Maybe I do not say that this particular course is better or a good one, but yes, the inputs that I have taken and the groundwork that I have done around these inputs, they kind of benefited me a lot.
It's actually 70% anyway your hard work, like we were discussing earlier. Because, see, whatever content, let's say I'm making, a lot of people are seeing that. But even with that content, you will see that some people are able to write very good answers and some people still aren't. Because I think it's still their effort. Our job, I think, on this side of the table, who are teachers in this industry, I think I also see my job as to give the best inputs possible. But I can't guarantee that those inputs will translate into marks, because it's so much reliant on how the other person is looking at it. Right? All right, last question. And this is just what you must have seen the paper this time, how vague it was and how difficult it was. Do you have a younger sibling?
Yes, sir, I have.
Let's say your younger sibling had appeared in this paper in 2025 and not made it. What advice would you give them?
Firstly, sir, this failure will be personal. No matter whoever is with you, it always feels personal. You have to go through it. It will take some time, but just do not lose hope. Sit back with yourself. If you want to give this exam again, if you had made your mind already to give this exam, just sit back with your paper and analyze the things where you are going wrong. It may be a simple and silly issue, but that can cost you more in the next attempt also if you just kind of ignorant towards it. Rather than being ignorant, just look at your own mistakes, find your own mistakes and just note them down, work on it, and then just with these learnings in mind, start ahead for mains. Because prelims is just a qualifying paper. No matter how much ever marks you get, these are not going to be added up. Mains is that bedrock which will give you the rank, the kind of service that you want to be in. So maybe being mains ready is very important. Even if not 50% also, you can just be confident about what are required for mains part. So what else is there to be followed, you will just have that mind map. Trust me, it will be very helpful for you once you clear the prelims.
Right.
There will be no wastage of time in figuring out how to do things. You will just jump ahead with your mains prep and you can perform way better.
Right. All right, Shivani, that's all the questions I had for you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks.
It was a lovely time talking to you.